Hello, it's Honey, and in this video I want to talk to you in March 2019 about the fact that I've been out publicly for 2 years now. In that sense, it's opening up quite a few doors for me now. I'm actually at the stage because of this where, as I said in my previous video, I'm eligible for gender reassignment surgery, or at least to get myself on the list for it. It also means I'm eligible to apply for my gender recognition certificate, or at least start the ball rolling on that. It also just has given me time and experience as a woman in society to see what's changed between then and now, and how I thought things would change and how they haven't. With that said, I'm going to tell you where I am after 2 years of having publicly transitioned. I know if you're following my videos, I've done a lot of stuff, you know, where I talk about the monthly things, but this is like a 2-year snapshot of where things are and what's changed, and for the most part it's actually really good. Obviously I'm far happier now that I'm living publicly than I was 2 years ago. It's a positive thing to just be able to get up and be yourself. Obviously there's a lot of additional work and a lot of stress that goes into just existing when you're trans, but at least I get to exist. And sometimes I paint a negative picture and I moan a bit about, you know, how after 2 years people still misgender me, and after 2 years how I'm still having to deal with problem people, and I had to report a member of staff recently and things because you know, I can't reasonably do anything more with them via polite conversation and education. I've done everything I can, and they're still just making inappropriate comments and things, so I've had to report them. And basically I moan a lot about things like that and how difficult it can be, but that's the day-to-day. If I look at a snapshot of it, you know, just zoom out and take a picture from 2 years of where I was before I publicly transitioned and where I am now, it's worlds different. I mean, it's basically to somebody who hasn't been able to transition or is only just starting, basically it must seem like, and probably is, like first world problems. You know, 2 years on, here I am moaning about my access to facial feminization surgery, and the fact that I've you know, it's taken 2 years for me to get to the gender clinic, and 2 years now is about the time that I've finally been able to be qualified to have gender reassignment surgery if I want it, and 2 years this and 2 years that. But it's great that I'm actually there now, and I've got all these new pathways and doorways that are open to me, and opportunities, and I am misgendered less than I was 2 years ago. It's still far more than I would like, but I am misgendered less than I was 2 years ago, and it's worth it. It's worth it, just for, even if you have a really bad day and you meet, for example, you run across paths with 25 people that you know and work with, and 20 of them, for example, get it wrong, but it's worth it. It's worth it for them 5 people that you have those interactions with, and it can be hard, it can be really hard to remind yourself of that sometimes. It's worth it for them 5 people that you have the interactions with, where they do respect you, where they do see you, or at least acknowledge the effort and the path that you're trying to follow, and what you're trying to do with your life, and that you're doing the best you can with what you've got at any given time on any given day. And it's worth it for those people. It's worth it because before I went public 2 years ago, nobody, and this is the only way you can think about it and not wear yourself down and get yourself worn out, nobody 2 years ago was gendering me correctly, because obviously nobody knew my gender back then. I was, you know, still trying to, even basically 9 months on HRT and a year into laser by then as well. People obviously didn't know any different, and so I can't criticise them for that. But if you think about it, 2 years ago everyone was misgendering me, and now, you know, a year on, progress, like I say, is slower than I would like, but a year on, half the people you meet are misgendering you, and another year on from there, it's a third of the people you meet are misgendering you. And you can see that eventually you're going to hopefully get to a place where you're comfortable, and that, you know, it's a thing of the past, and that you've achieved, you've landed, you've gotten to where you need to get to on your transition to be the person you want to be. And that's going to be different for everyone, but at least you can see there is a pathway and that you've got a chance to get there. And it can be hard to remind yourself of that, but you need to remind yourself of that. And I hope that if there's anything you take away from this 2 years public video, that yeah, you're going to have bad days where there are complete jackasses, and then you find yourself in a HR office, you know, a week later having to report them because, you know, you've had it up to here with them after months and months of speaking to them, trying to educate them, and taking, in some cases, your own personal time, and just inappropriate behaviour that they wouldn't do to anyone else if it was, say, for religious grounds or whatever, that they didn't agree with their choices. But people will sometimes just say inappropriate things, and ignorance you can correct, or at least try to correct, but at some point they cross a line, being deliberately ignorant or deliberately hurtful. There's a line that they pass where you're like not willing to respect the fact that your choices may be different to theirs, or that you've got it in black and white, and yet they still don't want to respect the decisions that you've made and the diagnosis you've received. There's not much you can do other than just remind them that actually they're in a place of work, and that there are procedures and things in place for dealing with people that don't want to, you know, respect other people and their decisions. We're not out on the street. We are at a place of work, and we have to get along, and the job has to get done, and you can't just go around spouting your mouth off at other people all the time because you don't agree with the things that the way they're living their life. Progress can be made, progress is being made, even on those darkest days. You are clawing your way towards your goals, and that you will get there. And I do like actually filming these videos for that reason, because you can look back, and when you sit there and you think, like, month to month it can seem like nothing's changing, nothing's improving, you know, you're never going to get the respect and things that you want, or that you feel you deserve, compared to your colleagues or other members of the public, because it's not just at work, obviously it's public. When you take a long look back, you can actually see that yes, things are changing, you are changing, people are changing, and that where you were 2 years ago to where you are now, life is better, or at least it should be. And if it isn't, then you can still use that same lens to look and see what it is that you can change, and how it is things can change to make your life better in another 2 years. And it's important to remember that that's something you can do. Now we're into March, and I have crossed that 2 year barrier. As I said before, a lot of new stuff is open to me via the NHS and Daventry Gender Clinic. I've now got now they've accepted me and diagnosed me with gender dysphoria. I have access to their resources, hopefully going forward, such as more voice work, access to the funds for more laser hair removal, the possibility of gender reassignment surgery, the help and support trying to get my gender recognition certificate done, all those things that I've mentioned. And it's really good to have that unlocked. It's a shame that it takes 2 years to get a referral to get to that point, but you know, 2 years on, at least it's done. or it's happening, I should say. Done, I wish. It's happening now, so at least that's something. Also now this year I'm planning to get my face done, facial feminization surgery. As I said in the previous video, somebody I know has just been there for their consultation about that with a team that I was really interested in using, so I'm a bit gutted. I really want to have my opportunity, and I will make opportunities to go and speak to probably that team as well as another one that's a lot more local. There's a guy down in Brighton. I say a guy like he's the vet or something. No, there is a facial surgeon down in Brighton who is world renowned, and you know, as long as I can afford him, that could turn out quite well. I've got a lot of research to do, and basically that's what I'm saying in this video, that you know, 2 years on from being out publicly now, all these opportunities are open to me, and I need to start doing the research to get my gender recognition certificate paperwork sorted. I need to print it off and begin it. Now that the option's there, I need to do the research ready for when my holiday renews in June this year, so that I've done the research, I know who I want to go to, and I can start booking consultations and things, and then hopefully later in the year I can book my facial surgery and stuff. And yeah, it'll just be nice to, I think this year's going to be a busy year. Life has just, since my last video that I did at the end of January, life has just been absolutely crazy. I've either been working as I do full time, you know, up to 54 hours a week, and then I've, you know, every day I've had off basically, you know, apart from the odd day here and there, the odd Sunday, which I don't always have, the odd Sunday. Other than that, I've been going places, doing things, either the social stuff that I mentioned before, which again, you know, nice problems to have, but still, you know, going out, groups, history week, research, life stuff in general. You know, it's just been non-stop at the moment, and I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. I've got more research to do, or I need to begin really, and that's where my focus is going to be between now and the next time we meet. So thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next update. Bye bye.